First of all, thank you for inviting me for this talk. I'm really excited to be here because first I was nervous, but now I think it's a really good opportunity to just talk about what I feel passionate about. And so this is the topic for my talk today: the reproducibility of art in the age of digitization. Reproducibility. I will break down this entire topic, but first of all, I'm going to talk about this artwork that I have selected for today's talk. It's not exactly art, but it is this production house, Studio Ghibli. I think most of you, or some of you might be familiar with that. It's a Japanese anime production house, which was started by Hayao Miyazaki. And So my talk's going to be a bit brief because there's only that much you can talk about anime. But if I had the chance, I could talk about anime because this production house, Studio Ghibli, I discovered it a few years back. Not a few years back, it's almost been a decade. I discovered it while I was doing my PhD, and I was really far away from home. And being far away from home, I found actually solace and refuge in watching all these films that were produced by Miyazaki. And the reason why I like these films, such as Howl's Moving Castle, Kiki's Delivery Service, there's a really heart-wrenching film, Graveyard of the Fireflies, and there's My Neighbor Totoro. So it might seem childish, but what I really like about these films is how intricately and in detail this animation and the drawings have been made. There is nothing digital in this production. And would you believe it that Miyazaki draws all of these images by hand for celluloid. So to this millennium, to the year 2025, he has been making films by hand. And each scene takes actually several months to bring into motion. So there's this actual craftsmanship involved in the production process. And this is what I want to bring your attention to. That when we talk about art, we need to talk about craftsmanship as well. That art is basically, and what I'm going to argue now, it should remain a form of craft or craftsmanship. So this is the logo of Studio Ghibli. This is Miyazaki, the man behind this really fascinating genre. And most of my MPhil students are really familiar with this. I wish they were here. I think some might be here. But this talk is then dedicated to all those students who love Miyazaki and Studio Ghibli. Now, the thing again, this is a scene from a film called The Wind Rises. It's about a pilot, a young boy who wants to be an aeronautical engineer. And what the film does is it actually depicts an era of Japanese history when Japanese industry was really down, and they were just building up this engineering and empire. And this is when this young boy tries to build and fly airplanes. This scene, I'm showing you this scene because this scene alone took 1 year, more than a year to film, and it's only for 1 or 2 minutes. This is how long it lasts. So again, the detailing is so minute and so intricate and specialized that the viewer, when he or she is watching these films, you can actually feel the sentiment, the emotion, and the spirit that went behind the creation of this entire film. And the same goes for the other films as well. These two scenes are from Howl's Moving Castle, and which is one of my all-time favorites. Again, this is about a young girl who is turned into an old woman by a witch. And the scenery, the landscape is completely imaginary. But it's so beautiful. It's been inspired by this place, Positano in Italy. Although the production is Japanese, Miyazaki was really inspired by French and Italian landscape. So you can find all of this in his films. So what is so special about Miyazaki's work? Hayao Miyazaki's genius lies in his craftsmanship, the fact that to this day he has remained loyal to hand-drawn celluloid animation. And this, I want to reiterate, is an art form which is, I think he's the only film animator or producer who is still relying on this art form. And what it does to the film is that it attaches a concept called aura to the film. And I will explain and talk about craftsmanship and art in relation to this concept of aura. What exactly is aura? So aura is something abstract and metaphysical that makes a work of art authentic and original. According to a cultural critic, Walter Benjamin, the aura is the here and now of the work of art, its unique existence in a particular place. So when the work of art takes birth in its cultural and societal context, it actually is endowed with an aura. And this aura, what now I'm going to argue is that because of the reproducibility, how art is being reproduced over and over again through mechanical means, it is actually lost. So it is what withers in the age of technological reproducibility of the work of art. So what happens is that in this age of digital reproducibility, aura withers away and is lost. What is the age of reproducibility that I'm talking about? So reproducibility basically refers to after the Industrial Revolution, which was the 18th and 19th century, artwork started being produced through a mechanical process, and it was being distributed en masse across the population. And what it did was that it produced this device, which is called the daguerreotype camera. And the camera was used to not only take portraits, but it was also used to take pictures of artwork that was very classical, and it was very unique, such as the Mona Lisa, such as works of Monet. So all these collector items were now being produced through the photograph, and they were being disseminated across the print medium. And the problem with that was that now in every household, this work of art was available. And when the idea is that when these works of art that are so unique and so entrenched in their cultural context, and they're so enriched with the spirit of the artist, when they are made available to each and every person, the idea is that the aura is lost of that artwork. And the aura actually is rooted in tradition. So the uniqueness of the work of art is identical to its embeddedness in the context of tradition. And I want to stress the importance of tradition over here when I talk about cultural context. Because what tradition does is that it lends three things, or three dimensions, to a work of art. And they can be structurally seen as ritual, religion, and external value. So ritual would mean how disciplined an artist is. It could be a filmmaker, it could be a musician, it could be a calligrapher, it could be a novelist. A novelist is also an artist. So the ritual, the discipline, and the regimen that the artist has to put themselves through in order to achieve that end goal. So that's a very rigorous and a hard process. And then religion over here does not actually mean literally a religion, but a structure that has connotations of metaphysical value. And because artwork, it tends to manifest the spirit or the soul of the artist, it has a spiritual value as well. That is why we have put this category into religion, that an artwork has almost a religious significance, or at least it should have. But today, in today's day and age, that has been lost. Now, what ritual and religion do is that they attach eternal value to the work of art. So that is why we have these timeless pieces sitting in museums or in very, very wealthy people's drawing rooms, because this eternal value is what adds this surplus capital value to that work of art as well. And now coming back to Miyazaki, because his work also constitutes craftsmanship, that's, how has that been lost? So what am I actually driving at? So I've just discussed these points, that the age of the technological reproducibility of art arrived in the wake of the Industrial Revolution, with the arrival of the camera, and how in the 20th century, as we move away from industrialization, we have entered the age of digitization and new media. So the age of industrialization, which was the 18th and 19th century, that's pretty much over now, because the countries who are advanced with advanced economies, or first world, they are moving away from industrialization now. They're moving towards what is known as degrowth, because they have seen the consequences of too much industrialization on humanity, on society, on the environment. So it's just actually the third world or the global south that is going to be stuck in industrialization. But now the first world these countries of advanced economic systems, they are the ones who are producing sophisticated and more refined forms of art. And when they move towards digitization, the entire world, as you know, is also digitized. We have to, because we're dealing economically with them. Now, with digitization has come something really, I personally find it very alarming that what was once reproducible through the print medium or through photography is now reproducible through artificial intelligence. And artificial intelligence is I feel, and I'm kind of like speaking contrary to what the discourse in Pakistani academia here is, but artificial intelligence is extremely dangerous in terms of how it is reproducing artwork at such a, it's producing it really fast. And this production is actually not a production, it's a replication of original works of art. Just as AI uses language models and schema to reproduce language structures, essays, and literature, it is also being used to replicate artwork. And this is exactly what happened with Studio Ghibli. So the team of TEDx, I guess they would be familiar with the Studio Ghibli filter because I saw it on your Instagram page. So, and you were, I mean, those were really cute images, I agree. But what it does is that it really strips away the life out of that artwork. So I just showed you these images from like original like stills from films that were produced by Miyazaki. And over here we have these type of images that are similar to the work that was produced by Miyazaki, but it's not handmade. There's no craftsmanship involved. And these are just these replications of famous memes. I think most of you have seen these. But so we see the photographs, and these are the replicated memes through the filter of the Studio Ghibli filter. And my argument here is, and which it's not actually an argument, but my statement here is, I'm going to state here that this is not art. This is a weak, insipid imitation of someone's hard work. Someone who put their entire life in the, into the structuring and the creation of this amazing artwork that was attached to stories that were so special, that were so soul-sustaining. You know, if anyone of you has seen Studio Ghibli films, they actually sustain your soul. And they have this perfect balance of yin-yang energy. There's no bad guy, and it's not that good always wins at the end of the day. It's just that balance is achieved in life at the end, and which is so refreshing. But this is not that. This is something that is really horrendous. And similarly, we have these. So you have this Trump. So Trump has been sort of turned into a benign character over here. A scene from Star Wars. This is Harry Potter and Ron Weasley. I don't know where this is from, but some film again. And this is not Studio Ghibli, as those of you who are familiar with the artwork, they know. So, now replicating art at a massive scale for mass consumption strips it away from its embeddedness in tradition or its context. So what happens is that when artwork is replicated for the masses to literally consume, because what the masses do is they just store the images and they reuse them, rehash them, and they are manipulating those images. That's consumption. That's not production. There's no creativity involved. So not only that artwork is alienated from its own aura, but the viewer or the receiver of that artwork is reduced to a consumer. And he or she is also alienated from their, I would say, their sense of aesthetics, which is really troubling because I would say your sense of aesthetics is your soul, right? So this is a very alienating experience to use these images. And it also destroys art, the uniqueness of art. So it alienates the artwork, in this example, the work of Miyazaki created with Studio Ghibli and renders it meaningless. So what happens is now, if you watch the films, they have been rendered meaningless. And you had something so beautiful, something so intricate, something like someone's soul had been poured into it. And now that soul has been taken out of it. And this is the danger of reproducibility. And this has been really multiplied and made worse because of artificial intelligence. And I'm going to add over here that this replication and reproducibility is not just a danger to artwork, visual art, audio, like music and other forms of art, but also literature, because now, that creative spark that students relied on in order to write a nice paper, to write a nice short story or poem, that's going to be lost, because in this age where time is money and it's going so fast, they are going to rely on this technology Like our honorable speaker before me, Dr. Arfa was saying, we are going to lose, we are going to lose our sense of spirituality. We're going to become more materialistic. And materialism is a real danger, because what it does is, what is material? Material is something that is bereft of its soul. What you're left with is something that is really tangible, and it can be then thrown away, used and thrown away in the garbage. But the soul cannot be thrown away. And that's what traditional art does. It retains the soul and the life of that artwork. So, that's for us. Like, I don't know how long I've been speaking. So the traditional understanding of craftsmanship requires that the heart and soul of the artist be extended into their work of art. And now going back to Miyazaki's example, and also just my own thoughts about artwork. When you are creating a work of art, in whatever genre, form, or structure it is, you need to pour your soul into it in order to give it life, because it is an extension of yourself, literally yourself. You need to give it time. You need to give it time to grow in the environment that you have created. You need to nurture it and live in your artwork. Don't just be these passive consumers of art who are not creative, because I feel like in Pakistan, our creative industry is not really booming. But I guess this could be the reason, because we're such a consumerist society. And AI can take that away from art and literature, because it is a hyper-refined super technology built only for replicating. So a replication is not good. It's not artwork. Replicas are not the real thing. We want the real thing in our lives back. Okay, thank you, everyone.